The trend we're seeing right now is people are using ChatGPT. After a month or so, loses its novelty, and then it slows down. So how do you actually get it integrated in people's daily lives? Just like how Alexa is in our daily lives or Siri is in our daily lives, you'll start seeing AI more integrated.
Thanks for being here. Ladies and gentlemen, Neil is one of the biggest entrepreneur and marketers in the world. In fact, Entrepreneur Magazine said he's the #1 marketer in the world. You created your first website at 15, 16 years old, and it's been going strong ever since. Now you own 4 multi-million-dollar businesses. Colleges are using your material. I know one of your big passions is helping small businesses, right? Helping small businesses get to where they want to go. And you say there's a formula to getting results in marketing, right? Can you explain what that formula is, that basic formula as you understand it?
Sure. So when I say there's a formula to marketing, the first thing is you need to go after a big TAM. TAM stands for total addressable market. If you go after it's almost the same amount of work to market a small niche business as it is to market in a really large business. So might as well go after a large business, because it's hard to gobble up 100% of a niche, while it's much easier to gobble up a fraction of a percent of $100 billion market. So go after a large market. The second one is, after you got a large market, is you need to figure out what you can give to disrupt that industry. So for example, if you're going after health insurance, you can give away payroll software for free to then generate more sales for health insurance, because people who pay for payroll software, they typically also provide their employees health insurance, right? So instead of charging them for what they're used to paying for, you then end up saying, hey, we'll give you this thing that doesn't cost us much here for free, and we're going to make a lot of money charging you for this much bigger thing, which is health insurance. And then the next part is you just got to go omni-channel. So from the TikToks to Instagrams to Facebooks to Google, there's not one channel that does well. They all end up getting crowded and are competitive. So you got to leverage all of them. And other than that, you just got to execute on it and give it time. But those are the main 3 elements. Of course, there's a lot of other things involved in marketing to make each of those things work. I oversimplified it, but those are some of the 3 key things that people mess up on. They don't pick a big enough TAM. They don't figure out how to disrupt a market. And they think that they can grow a business to being really amazing with just one channel. You can start off with one channel, but eventually you got to expand into all of them.
So today we're going to be talking about AI. That's the thrust of what we're talking about, clearly. And I watched one of your podcasts recently, and you said we're in the first inning of the AI game, right? Have we been in that first inning for a while? Because it seems like the algorithms for Facebook and those have been around a while. Have we been there for a while? And do you see us going to the second inning, so to speak, soon?
Yeah, we're in the first inning. What you'll see is things will actually speed up and progress faster and faster. So the amount of time you'll be in inning 1 will be much longer than the amount of time you're in inning 2, and then in inning 3, and so forth, so on, in which each inning will get shorter and shorter because technology improves and things get faster. It's just like space exploration. It used to be where NASA was doing everything, and it took a long time for us to make a lot of progress when it comes to space. But then all of a sudden, private companies are sending things into space. Then all of a sudden, rockets are reusable. And then all of a sudden, you have things like Starlink that's up and running, and you could be in the middle of nowhere and you can get fast internet versus the old school, slow satellite internet. All I'm getting at is things progress at a really fast pace due to technology. With AI, we're still in inning 1. There's a lot of issues with AI, and you're going to see a lot of them worked on. Most of them will not be fixed this year or even next year. It's going to be a long race, but they'll get drastically better over the next few years.
And what do you think inning 2 might look like? Is it going to be similar to this, only ChatGPT is going to be better, or is there going to be voice commands? Any idea what that might look like?
So inning 2, in my opinion, will be integration into more of our lives. So right now, everyone looks at ChatGPT. Oh, I can just ask them a prompt and it ends up pushing out something. The trend we're seeing right now is people are using ChatGPT. After a month or so, loses its novelty, and then it slows down. So how do you actually get it integrated in people's daily lives? Just like how Alexa is in our daily lives or Siri is in our daily lives. you'll start seeing AI more integrated, but not from an aspect of just Alexa or Siri. Yes, that's already there. I'm talking more of an aspect of, I'm working on an assembly line and AI is doing X, Y, and Z for me to speed up the process and make sure no one gets hurt and everything is done perfectly. Or I'm in marketing, we have all this analytical data. AI on a daily basis spits out a report and tells us what to do to get the most out of our marketing by analyzing everything that's happened in the last 24 hours.
Okay, so a lot of people are talking about AI being similar to the .com era. Would you make the same comparison? Where do you think the biggest opportunities are right now?
I would. There's a lot of junk. There's going to be a ton of failures. And the biggest opportunity is, in my opinion, streamlining a lot of processes and operations within organizations. The boring stuff. If you actually look at the McKinsey report that came out, most of the money that's being spent on AI is not things like content creation. It's in systems and processes.
All right. And so a lot of us are like looking at AI and we're not sure where to start. Do you have suggestions for small business owners? Like, where would you start implementing AI?
Yeah. So as a small business, honestly, I wouldn't worry about implementing AI much at all right now. Instead, I would just use the tools to help you get some of your work done. So people look at AI as like, hey, let me see if I can integrate in my marketing and just do it for me. AI is not there yet. We're not at a point in time where you can just rely on AI to do everything that you need perfectly. It's just like when search engines first came out, a lot of the results were crap. Google showcased Bard with the error or misinformation, not in a bad way, but it was just inaccurate. And the market cap dropped by billions of dollars. ChatGPT is inaccurate in so many ways. You should see how many times we use ChatGPT and it's plagiarizing content, just to be super transparent. It's nowhere near perfect. But where, as a business owner, you could be using AI right now in your marketing is, if you take an omni-channel approach, which we talk about in a formula to do really well in marketing, you have to create content. AI can help you spearhead that content creation, coming up with the concepts and ideas, titles for even blog posts or content for social media, and even creating it. Then you need to go out there and modify the content to make sure it represents you and it's accurate and it's what you want. Content by AI isn't good enough to just post. Yes, the Ryan Reynolds example was pretty good, but that is not the majority of the cases with AI.
And it may not even been the whole example of what he did. He probably got a printout and he probably modified it to work for him, right? And then use that, which is, I think, what all of us are doing is we get a blog post or an email or whatever we create on ChatGPT, we modify it and then we use it. And that's the way it probably should be used right now from what I'm hearing you say.
Yes, it was very scripted, right? There was no way the Ryan Reynolds, he's like, let me just pull it up right now and see what happens.
Yeah.
His team worked on that. It was set, recording, the quality of the production, even though it looks like it was natural. It wasn't shot with a phone or anything like that.
Yeah, right. Okay, good. So what are some of the big mistakes that you see entrepreneurs making or marketers making when it comes to implementing AI, and how can we avoid those mistakes?
The biggest mistake is they think AI is perfect and then they just use it and they just expect the results are going to be great. That's the first one. The second mistake that we see is are going out there, at least in marketing, and they're just like, let me go create tons of content on everything within my industry so I can catch up with my competition. You can do a search for anything on the internet. A great example of this is I did a search the other day of how to dunk a basketball if you're short. All right. So if I did an example of how to dunk a basketball if you're short, and I'm just sharing my screen here. You can end up seeing it here. I'm going to end up closing some of my windows so you can end up seeing. This has 13 million results, okay? If you look at how many people search for it in the United States, roughly 20. So there's already tons of content on any given phrase. Chances are people are already clicking on page 1, maybe page 2, and that's it. The point I'm getting is having AI create content on any given topic isn't just going to get you more traffic. Google and social sites already know how to drown out the crap. They've been doing this for ages. There's no difference. Just because content is created by AI or a human, they already know how to drown it out unless it's amazing. So what you need to focus on is make sure the content is amazing. showcase your experience, your expertise, your authority, your trust. Google likes calling it EEAT. And the second is spend more time promoting the content than creating it, because all you're going to end up doing is just using AI to create a ton of content that no one's going to read, and it's actually going to hurt your site and get you less traffic or less social engagement and less followers, because people are like, this is junk, mediocre content.
Yeah. And it sounds like once you get the output from, say, ChatGPT, it's super important to make it sound like you. Would you say that's true as well?
You need to make it sound like you. But the example I gave, just to double down on this, I gave a really random example that most people aren't going to type, and that had 13 plus million results. Now imagine if it was on something generic. You're going to have, in many cases, hundreds of millions, if not billions of results. Oh, AI will allow me to keep. Not really. You got to compete with 13 or 16 or 100 million other results. It's not that simple.
Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy. Yep. So super important. Make sure that you don't just take ChatGPT and post it somewhere. You want to make sure you take the results and modify it to be your content, make it the best it can be, and make it sound like you before you send it out.
Exactly.
Got it. Okay. So I know a lot of people are worried about jobs, right? We've seen Facebook and Google do layoffs. Is that true? Are people actually losing their jobs already from AI and the explosion of AI right now?
People aren't losing their jobs to AI. They're losing their jobs to a bad economy and companies not hitting their quarterly earnings. Facebook just laid off more people today. I think they did an announcement that they're laying off 10,000 more people or something like that, or 5,000. Either way, it was a large number. AI, if you think about it right now, what we're seeing is there's a demand for marketers, engineers, product people, the list goes on and on, who understand AI, can help get those things implemented within an organization.
So there's actually more opportunity for people with AI than people losing their jobs.
Right now. Fast forward,
right.
I think it's going to change, but right now, that's the case.
Yeah, and so let's talk about that change. Where do you see that change occurring? Is it within the entrepreneur industry? Is it within at businesses and
all industries? I literally see it in all industries. The moment that AI can do a better job than the average human, the reason I say average human, because there's human error. And if the AI can do that job with less errors and more efficiently, you're going to start seeing it replace jobs, but it's nowhere near there. And it's not going to be there in the next year or even 2 years, or maybe probably not even 3 years. It's going to take a while. Maybe within 3 years, you slowly start seeing AI affecting jobs, but I really don't see it happening anytime soon.
Okay, so a lot of hype, a lot of worry that maybe it shouldn't be there. And when you look at this, who do you think is most vulnerable? Who do you see as the most vulnerable at losing their jobs or losing their business?
Anything that's manual labor.
Anything in manual labor. Okay.
Flipping a burger, right? You can use machines for that. That already exists. But like, that's like an extreme example. Or like having them do very basic, simple things like number crunchers, or people who are analyzing data. You can have AI just replace a lot of those kind of things.
Okay. Copywriters at risk, and other content creators, social media managers?
No, so AI will, the way I see AI affecting social and marketing and content is it'll help streamline your job and allow you to produce more output for the hours you're given. So instead of replacing jobs, they may not have to hire as many people, and they can get more output from the same people. EX, AI helps you with a ton of content ideas, or helps you write some of the content. You can go and modify, and it saves you half the time, so you can increase your output.
Neil, when I work with a lot of coaches, they're very concerned that AI is going to come in and start taking their business for them. People won't need coaches because of,
a lot of it's going to end up replacing jobs that people don't want to do. And the burger example is a great one. There's already machines that flip burgers, but imagine AI integrated into the burger and be like, oh, let me flip it. Oh, the temperature's not right. It needs to be cooked a little bit more. Oh, if we add these seasonings, people are going to love it even more. Like, think about getting a little bit more sophisticated that way. Or you're walking into your home and it makes it easier to cook or do things, or, hey, here's all the recipes based on what you have in the fridge. We analyze this, and here's what you can make for dinner in less than 5 minutes, right? Think of it as something that'll make life easier versus it replacing it. You could say, oh, that's going to replace a lot of chefs at home. Well, how many people are actually chefs, private chefs for, the average American? Not that many.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great point. So you don't think coaches really have anything to worry about within the next at least 2 or 3 years? AI is not really that close to being able to coach you, say, online.
Well, the better way to think about it is the AI is only good as its input. Search engines have been trying to fight misinformation and false information for well over 10 years. Google still has that issue. Bing still has that issue, and the list goes on and on. So if the input is still not 100% accurate, how do you expect the output to be 100% accurate? For that reason, you can't expect the AI to be amazing. Think of AI as like a better version of an article spinner. Hey, how can someone generate more sales? Let's say you're a sales coach. Well, it's going to scour the web, figure everything out that it's analyzing, and then just give you data based on what it finds. In essence, it's spinning up old information and regurgitating it. So as a coach, as long as you can stay ahead of the curve and constantly are researching and coming up with new trends and ideas and strategies that other people aren't leveraging for, you can have a leg up on AI, at least in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years.
I've heard people say that the only people that are going to be, or some of the people that are going to be affected negatively by AI are the people that don't embrace it and start integrating it, because all their competitors will be. Would you say that's a true statement? And what does that?
It is.
Yeah.
Embrace it, leverage it. That's where the opportunity is.
So let's talk about leveraging it. So we kind of got a good foundation of understanding AI a little bit. What are some of the maybe the key points or key principles of how we can leverage AI at this point?
All right, so I'll go with the 3 things. I think you mentioned 3 ways that we can embrace it and use it. So 1, have AI come up with content ideas for you. The biggest thing is people have issues coming up with a lot of ideas for their business, their marketing. They don't have a consistent content calendar. This is going to help you guys a lot. Number 2 is analyzing analytics data. You're going to see more AI solutions come out. If you look at most people, they're using Google Analytics, but how many people actually log in and take actionable insights based on that data? Very few. So you can end up using AI for that. Number 3, the thing that I love the most is when you're starting off, you may not have a lot of time to test your landing pages, your collateral. You may like, oh, things aren't working with conversions, or my images on my Facebook ads aren't doing well. You can start using Dolly or ChatGPT or a lot of these solutions, just come up tons of variations, which allow you to test to figure out, all right, let me see what will work versus what won't work.
I know a lot of people are looking at video, AI for video, creating, the avatars that come up, and you can type in your information and it'll basically spit out this video. And other people are using it for audio. Other people are using it for picture generation. Do you think AI is there yet to create content that's helpful in marketing, or is it something that's not quite where it needs to be yet? Yeah,
I think it can help. I don't think it's that great for video. I think it's drastically worse for video than it is for text, and I'm not a fan of it in its current form.
do you think it's more harmful than good to use a bad
Yes,
avatar generated video? Then
it's really harmful. You want to know why? Because the way the social platforms and their algorithms work is if you keep putting out crap, it's going to hurt your reach for your future content. So you're better off only putting out good stuff than crap or mediocre stuff. And a lot of the AI video created content and audio content is just not there.
got it. So how does it hurt your searchability and your ranking and stuff? How does that happen?
Well, the way it works with social platforms, at least, is if you put out content and people don't want to engage with it, it tells the social platforms, even if you have 1 million followers, people don't care for what you're posting. They don't want to engage. So then you start doing it another 2, 3, 4 times. They're like, no one likes engaging with this person, Neil Patel or whoever it is, or Bob. So when you keep putting out crap content, what do? They show it to less and less of your followers. And then when you start putting out good content, too late. People don't want to engage with your stuff, so we're not really going to show them much of your stuff, and then it takes a long time to recover. So it actually hurts you to put out crap content. With search and SEO, it's the same thing. You put out crap content, you already saw from the example I showed, you're competing with millions of people. They were like, oh, they're just creating tons of Me Too content, nothing new, nothing unique here. No one wants to link to them. We shouldn't rank them. They just have a lot of bad content. Great example of this was about.com. They had tons of content. They actually got more traffic when they split up their content into unique sites focused on niches. And then they deleted a lot of the junk. I forgot what percentage of the content they deleted, but it was more than 20, 30%. They deleted a large chunk of their content and they got more traffic because the more portion of your content is good, the better the platforms, whether search or social, favor you. The more traffic, the more likes, the higher rankings you're going to get versus if you just put a lot of mediocre stuff out.
Okay, so let's say, you're doing a private consultation with me and I'm saying, Neil, I don't know where to start with AI. Where would you say the first thing I would go to dig into my business and start implementing right away?
If you don't know where to start with AI, the first thing that you should do is go analyze your competition. You can use a lot of the tools out there, from Ubersuggest to SimilarWeb to SEMrush to Social Blade, to see what your competition is doing that you're not doing, and then use AI to help you with your ideation for content and creating the content. Again, you can't publish it in that form. You're going to have to modify it heavily to be where it needs to be and be amazing. But the biggest thing that we see a lot of small businesses lack is they just don't create the content that's needed to really compete with the larger companies.
Got it. And you had said something that kind of made me think I probably should be asking this question. Like, is there a danger, and how can we protect ourselves? A danger of plagiarism, danger of, having information that ChatGPT spits out that somebody else's, we had no idea, and then we post it. And that sounds like a real thing. And how do we protect ourselves from that?
You can run it through tools like Copyscape. It'll tell you if it's plagiarized or not. There's a lot of plagiarism tools out there that you can just use.
So would you recommend taking everything
Yes.
that you get from it, ChatGPT, take it through, what was the name of the website again?
Copyscape.
Copyscape. So go to copyscape.com, run it through there before you post it on your site, and then you can protect yourself against potential plagiarism or copyrights, etc.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. So I start with research. What would be the next couple steps that we might take as far as implementing it as a small business?
So the issue isn't implementing it. Once you got the research and you create the content you're pushing out there, the issue isn't AI and how it can really help you streamline it. The big mistake that companies and marketers are making is they're not spending enough time promoting it. And that's not an AI thing. That's more of a time thing, and you just got to do it. So for example, who's tweeting out content that's similar to yours on, Twitter? Hit them up, build a relationship, ask them to tweet out your content and tweet out theirs in exchange. Look to see who's engaging with your competition on social media. Go follow them on their profiles, comment on their profiles, engage with them, build relationships. So then that way your profiles start doing better. Start going live on social media. Instagram is lacking live content. They've actually seen a decline. The last stat that I saw, maybe it's changed this year, but the last stat I saw in 2022, they were starting to see a decline in live content. So consider creating live content and making sure that it's really valuable, and you can get ideas from any of these AI tools on some things that you should talk about. The other thing you want to do is look to see who's linking to your competition. Any of the link tools out there like Ubersuggest or Ahrefs or SEMrush, you can do a lot of it for free, and Ubersuggest will show you who's linking to your competition. Build relationships with those people, ask them to link to your content. All this stuff is a lot of manual work. Is it what you ideally want to do? No, but someone needs to do it. And this is what right now AI can't do. And that's where you should be spending the majority of your time in marketing if you really want to see results. Spend 20% of the time creating the content, 80% promoting it. And you may be like, that's not enough time creating content. AI can help you create more content, but you don't need to create a lot of content. Just make sure the content you do create is amazing and you spend the majority of the time promoting it.
So good. Okay, great. That's some really solid tools there that we can use right away. I have seen tools out there that help you hire on SEO. For example, I've seen a tool out there that will take a blog post and rewrite it, and so it ranks higher. Are those tools valuable? Are they where they need to be? Is there anything we need to know about those?
One of the biggest ways to get higher rankings on Google is not to rewrite content, is to update it. If you look at any search that you perform, there's a good chance Wikipedia ranks on page 1. Why? There's already a lot of results. Most of them are old. but Wikipedia keeps up to date. So if you take your hit pieces, the ones that really matter to your business, continually update them, not update them with a sentence or a photo, but update them to continually provide value, whatever that may be. Maybe a few paragraphs, maybe one sentence, because there doesn't need to be anything really updated. But if you keep it up to date for however much it needs to be up to date, you'll find that your rankings and your traffic are going to continually be better.
And let's say you're using a repurposing strategy, right? And you're taking your old videos and it's like they're totally relevant now. How can you make them up to date and keep that process going forward?
Videos, you can't. You would just go and create new videos.
Got it. But blog posts you can, and what you just said is just update the content, update the date.
Yes. For audio and video, you would just create new versions once it's out of date.
Got it. Got it. Okay, well, we're just about out of time. I'd like to have you talk a little bit about, you have 4 multi-million-dollar companies. Can you tell us a little bit about those companies so we know how we can engage with them and how we can use them, how they're valuable for small business owners like ourselves?
Sure. My main business is NP Digital. It's an ad agency. We help companies of all sizes grow. We're global. I think we're in 9 or 10 regions now. I forgot how many. By the end of the year, we should be in 20. And we also have software tools like Answer the Public and Uber Suggest, and some of them are integrating AI to make your guys' lives easier when it comes to marketing.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Neil, any last words from our audience here today around AI before you go?
Don't be worried about it. Embrace it, and don't assume it's going to be perfect. Make sure you take the time to modify it, or else you're not going to get the results you want.
All right. So the all-out nuclear war is not going to happen from the Terminator yet. We've got time, and
That's right.
like I said, we're in the first. Any idea when we're going to get to the 9th inning of this thing? I mean, it could be 5-10 years from now or longer. Or...
When Elon Musk creates human-looking robots that have AI integrated, is probably the 9th inning.
Yep, and that's coming.
It's coming.
All right. All right. Well, thank you so much. Appreciate your time today. Thanks for taking your time to be with us small business owners and helping us understand the landscape of AI today.
Sounds good. Take care, everyone.